So LeBron, the NBA season actually starts tonight. We will have two games, four marquee teams. That's me killing time. Here we go. So the season kicks off with the 76ers taking on the Boston Celtics. So LeBron James, 1,325 points away from tying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record, which a record Kareem set in the 80s. The record has stood. Countless great players have not come close. Guys like Jordan has not come. Here's the all-time list. It's Kareem, LeBron, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Carmelo Anthony, and Moses Malone round up the top 10. I think it's impressive that you have Carmelo Anthony in the top 9. It's actually pretty good for him. But look at that list. All right. Karl Malone, take him. I'm taking Karl out because nobody was ever confused with Karl Malone for taking over a game. He was a great player. Don't get me wrong. He got his team to the finals twice. Always an all-star. MVP, questionable. But Karl Malone was the man. You got Kobe, who maybe if it wasn't for some injuries, Kobe is at the top of this list. You got Mike, who if he doesn't retire, could be at the top of this list. Dirk Nowitzki, the guy was a monster, greatest Dallas Maverick of all time. In my opinion, maybe he's tied with Hakeem Olajuwon with the greatest overseas player ever. Like, there's no question how great Dirk Nowitzki was. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in one game. He averaged 50 for a season, and he's still at the top of this list. And Moses Malone is not confused with being a scorer. Moses Malone was great, but nobody was confused with Moses Malone with just filling the rim. Like, he was more of a defensive rebounder guy, but he could score. Let's just narrow this down to Kareem and LeBron, and when LeBron may do it. LeBron can average, if he plays all 82 games, all he does is average 16 points a game, he'll do it. But if he averages around 28 points a game, he'll do it in like game 40-ish. Yeah, he'll do it in like game 40-ish. Which pegs the question, how important of a record is this? And is there an asterisk to it? Because 3 guys on this list didn't go to college. Moses, Kobe, and LeBron did not play in college. They had a head start. Kareem, basically, we're not going to go with because it was different rules back then. But Kareem is not mistaken. The all-time greatest it's been recognized as Michael. Period. Funny though how Kareem and Michael both share the same amount of championships, both with 6. And I want to say share the same amount of MVPs, both with 6, or at least they share the same amount. But yet the conversation is never how great Kareem is, and I think it's because Kareem had to play with Magic towards the tail end of his career. But Magic will even tell you he doesn't win a championship without Kareem at all. If you look at the guys on this list, Kareem, LeBron, Kobe, Michael, Dirk, Wilt, Shaq, all champions, all needed a teammate. Shaq needed Kobe, which is they're the only pair of teammates that are on this list that won championships, but they're the only pair of teammates on this list. Wilt needed Jerry West. Mike needed Pippen, Kobe needed Shaq and Paul Gasol, and LeBron needed Kyrie, LeBron needed Love, LeBron needed Anthony Davis, Kareem needed Oscar, who's 13th on the list, and he needed, and when I meant the only pair of teammates in the top 10 guys, kind of got those, but they were teammates. No, top 10. Okay, Kareem needed Magic, and he needed Oscar. We're not going to dispute that. But why is the conversation when we talk about greatest not Kareem? He's got the same. Kareem was, the way LeBron was the chosen one, so was Kareem out of high school. When Kareem was in high school, people was like, I got to get that guy. Kareem was on at the Rucker hooping when he was Lou Alcindor. The name Lou Alcindor in communities was huge. He goes out to UCLA. He doesn't even play the first year, which people thought was like criminal. Like, you're not going to play this kid, but they didn't do that then. 3-time champion. He did not lose at UCLA.
Advantage on Kareem number one. And secondly, he shoots threes. But I do think
you got a point.
Factor in. Kareem went to college and won 3 national championships. He couldn't play as a freshman.
That he did.
But he still had to stay in college for 4 years. I think the fair way to do these stats, he's going to break the record, number one, but compare, okay, where were they at?
Gets to the NBA, wins a championship with the Bucks. The Bucks don't win another championship until Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's when they won their next championship. Sends him, no championships. Sends him not even in the championship. Goes to LA. They have some down years, but as soon as he gets Magic, they back in it. All right? Countless. If they weren't winning, they were in it. And he wasn't sexy. He didn't have a clever sneaker. He lost, all these guys lose their hair. But when LeBron passes him, the conversation is going to come out that LeBron's the greatest of all time. I don't know if I don't know if the NBA anymore can have a definitive argument who's the greatest of all time. The NBA may have to go in a Marvel Comics situation where they have an Illuminati style, heads of the council. Kareem, LeBron, Jordan, and the question would be who's the fourth? It's not Kobe. It's not is it Magic or is it Bill? I gotta put Bill there because he had 11 championships and he was the beast of his era. And scoring wasn't as much of a factor then as it is now on an individual level. But dare I say Shaquille O'Neal? Because for a 5-year span, no player was more dominant than Shaq. Period. Now, I'm taking Shaq off the list because if Shaq stayed healthy and he was more dedicated, Shaq would be at the top of this list. But I'm going to leave that 5th spot open for a conversation for a different day. But between LeBron and Kareem, you really got to start asking the question, how important is Kareem to the NBA and why don't we deem him more important? The guy had a shot that nobody stopped. And nobody's repeated because I don't even think it's that difficult of a shot. Nobody sees a repeat. Everybody wants to repeat Jordan's fadeaway. Everybody wants to repeat LeBron's ugly dunk. Everybody wants to repeat AI's amazing crossover. But nobody ever tried to emulate Kareem's skyhook. Even to this day, great players don't pay attention to that. It's kind of the reason why Kareem is not considered one of the greats because he's not emulated. He's not mimicked. Jordan's still mimicked to this day. LeBron is mimicked. KD is mimicked. Heck, Dirk Nowitzki's mimicked. That fadeaway jumper from the post that KD does and so many others, that's Dirk's shot. Dirk would get it. His little shimmy was terrible. But because he was tall, he had enough where he could create distance. Shaq, not emulated, because you can't. I don't think Shaq will ever be emulated. But you really got to start, I don't know. I don't have enough time in this segment to break down who I think is better. And the more and more LeBron keeps playing, he creates a fog over the question of the all-time greats and Mike, Bill, Kareem, Wilt, etc. He creates a fog because he has titles, he has the MVPs, he has the numbers. What was his miss? That killer instinct, that Mike. What makes people love Mike so much was Mike wanted to win. I'm gonna win. If Mike's mother stepped on the court, he would put on his J's, tighten it up, kiss her on the cheek, and then bust her. He would take her to the rim. And that's where the difference is. That's why I think so many people put Mike up there. But you really got to start looking at the numbers. You really got to start looking at what they impact on the game. And you really got to start looking at where they fit in the annals of history. And it's really rough because Kareem and Kobe have so much in common. Where in the 80s, Kareem could have been deemed the best player in the 80s. Magic was on his team, and Magic was the best player in the 80s. Kobe has that same problem. He had Shaq first, and LeBron may not have been his teammate, but he had to deal with LeBron for periods of time. So, it's not easy. But congratulations to LeBron when he breaks it, and this show will be here when he does. So, how about that? Hey, thank you everybody for listening to Downright Sports. It's been fun. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week. More show. If you like listening to Downright Sports, feel free to download the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and you can watch clips of the show on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can also download the show on other major podcasting platforms. Listen to the show weekdays from 12 to 1, DJ Chase Radio. always stumble when I get here. Thursdays at 8 o'clock on DynastyRadioNY.com. All day Saturday starting on Fab 94.5 The Hits at 8 a.m. and then 6 o'clock p.m. on Trap Radar Radio, and finish out the week at SheRealRadio.com. You can also like and subscribe at TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook fan page. And that's it. Appreciate you guys. Download the podcast Wednesday at 12 noon. As always, we'll see you later tonight. Deuces.